The 1900s, a time of innovation, new opportunity, communism, and racism. Okay, when put like that, it doesn't sound too good. But you know what good did come from this time? The Harlem Renaissance. Let's talk about it. The Harlem Renaissance started roughly around the year 1920, and it trailed well into the 1930s. But what exactly was the Harlem Renaissance? Well, the Harlem Renaissance was a time of recognition and change for the black populations in New York. Black people turned to the arts to express cultural identity. Systematically and socially, African Americans were inferior to white people and had little to no voice. The Harlem Renaissance gave the chance for the black population to speak out and let their voices be heard. The opportunity to participate in the arts grew large because of this need, and this allowed African Americans who had strictly been written about white people for decades to be able to portray their own experiences throughout their lives. The word Renaissance means rebirth, and this is a perfect depiction of what was happening to black ideologies during this time. The leading thinker during this ethnic boom was Harvard, Oxford, University of Berlin, and Hertford College graduate Alain Locke. He was an American writer, philosopher, educator, and patron of the arts, and acknowledged as the Dean of the Harlem Renaissance. And that's understood because if you heard what I just said, this man had so much on his plate, he had to be looked up to. He had so many accomplishments, and he was only doing more for the community. Many young black artists looked up to him as a leader in some degree during this time. Some of these writers include Arna Bontemps, County Cullen, Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, James Weldon Johnson, Claude McKay, and Jean Toomer. And these are just a few of the major writers during the Renaissance. Not only did the Renaissance give change to black literature, but also in music, sculptures, paintings, and many more forms of art. The best known African American painter during the Renaissance is Aaron Douglas. His use of silhouettes and simple backgrounds portrayed very strong emotional messages. He was known for painting murals and beautiful pieces of art that were recognized by many still to this day. He died on February 2nd, 1979, to pulmonary embolism, but his impact to many young black artists is still in full effect to this day. Broadway productions were also booming during this time. Shuffle Along and literary works such as The Weary Blues show that there was an audience for literature and art by African Americans. These feelings of recognition and worth could mean so much to the African Americans during this time. Imagine being raised and told that you were worth nothing and will never amount to anything in your life because of your skin color. Having that sadness cloud your vision until you look around and see that other people just like you are making a name for themselves. That is the beauty of the Renaissance. This is what the Renaissance was about. Webb Du Bois, American sociologist, socialist, historian, and Pan-Africanist civil rights activist, said the work in the arts and letters was part of striving for racial equality. Now, let's get into a known favorite piece of art that came out during the Renaissance. The music. A new type of rhythm was the direct outcome of the Renaissance that is still listened to in this day and age. Of course, I'm talking about jazz music. Stride piano playing, cabaret singing, and early big bands were African American innovations of the Harlem Renaissance. Nightclubs, cabarets, and speakeasies were popular within the nighttime because of the Great Depression and the Prohibition, and accompanying these were the blues and 19th century European classical piano music. Jazz artists included U.B. Blake, Duke Ellington, and most notably Louis Armstrong. Artists could play in clubs and speakeasies all night until the sun came rising up to remind them of how much passion they placed into their music. This music wasn't limited to the African American population although, but white Americans wanted to experience the jazz age in Harlem as well. Moments of cultural acceptance in a nightclub because of this music is something beautiful to experience. This period gave a new point of view in the portrayals of black life and gave the African American population something to be proud of. And that brings us back to the main question I had at the start of the video. What is the Harlem Renaissance? By the way, that's my sister. I want to say hi to my entire English class. The Renaissance was an awakening in the African American population and brought an entire community stronger and together forever. Many effects of the Harlem Renaissance are still visible today, as you may know, based off of music and other forms of art. My name is Khalees Polanco, and that was my project with Maddie Reynolds. All of our sources will be in the description below for you to check out. And thank you for watching. I guess I'm out.